analyzing radio frequency waveforms in Linux, this time on Hak5. This episode of Hak5 is brought to you by Domain.com.
Hello and welcome to Hak5. My name is Darren Kitchen.
My name is Shannon Morse.
It's your weekly dose of Technolust.
And this is brought to you by Kirby.
Kirby is a part of the Hak5 family and has been for over a decade now, so...
Oh my gosh, it has.
She's a proper woman. She's a lady. She's a lady cat.
She's, what, 15?
Wow.
Mm-hmm. She's up there. We're glad that she joined us on today's show, but we have a ton to get to. But first, we have a gift from a fan.
Oh, we do?
We do, yeah.
All right.
So
what do we
this
get?
Was from, I'll let you control that. This is from Joe. He says, hey Hak5 team, what's going on? Love the show, love the gadgets you make. I know people send you stickers, but I wanted to send you our threat patch. A few of us left the DoD red teaming world, started a security company a little over a year ago. We focused on red teaming and threat emulation. I have been giving out our threat patches to fellow red teamers when they or their tools have helped us out. Keep up the awesome work, and you may have seen some stuff I've worked on. Are you familiar with the RTFM book?
Ooh.
Red Team Field Manual?
Oh.
I was the technical editor and designed the cover.
Oh man, I should have pulled it up on Amazon or something. Anybody check out the,
so cool.
the Red Team Field Manual, and hopefully I can pull this up in bloop. There we go.
Awesome.
Check that out. Oh,
that's
oh wait, look at that. What does that say? I may have purchased that on July 5th.
And these are
Thanks,
the patches
Amazon.
that he
Selling
sent
me
us.
out.
Yeah, so thank you so much,
Rad.
Joe. Really
you know
appreciate
what?
it.
Mega tip for everybody. As you know, to survive in the hacker kingdom, you're going to need a few essentials. First of all, duct tape.
Also zombie apocalypses.
Also, electrical tape.
Oh yeah.
Also, crazy glue. Amazing stuff. I'm mainly speaking of adhesives here. Maybe I've been playing
Sonic
too much Fallout 4. Velcro. Adhesive Velcro, by the way, best thing in the world. Okay? And oh good. And it's done right where the fuzzy side is the receptacle. People doing it wrong. Too many people, they do it wrong. Anyway,
awesome.
Thanks so much. This is going on this side of the set now.
Yay!
Because we've started continuing right next to the Great Scott Gadgets.
So cool.
Actually, that kind of goes along with what we were talking about this week on the show. As you guys know, Mike Osmond was just on, and it was so great to have Mike on.
Yeah, so he was just on for the last 2 weeks, so sorry I wasn't here, but Mike was here and he was amazing. So he showed us a way to demodulate with the Yardstick 1 in Python, and he also showed off capturing raw IQ data from the HackerF, as you'll remember, and analyzing it with InSpectrum. But what about...
And InSpectrum is amazing. We were actually going to do a segment on
really
InSpectrum, but he just showed... Fantastic tool. Check it out.
Yeah, definitely. So this brought up the question, but what about the simple WAV files that we've been recording with the RTL, SDR, and GQRX? Well, luckily we have a fan named Steve, aka Scoobsty, on Twitter, and he brought up a solution.
This is awesome. That's right. We're talking about demodulating ook, or on-off keying.
Yay. And
actually, let me just go ahead and pull up some of the stuff that we've been doing. Are we leaving?
No, she's just gonna sit right at the front of the camera.
Why not? As long as she doesn't start cleaning her butt on camera, we're all good.
You never know.
What am I? It's a podcast. You tuned in for this. Let me fire up Audacity and grab this sample. So I have a test file here. Test. I don't know. We'll go with test 6. Seems to be the latest. There we go. And you've seen us capture these waveforms before using, what is it again? It's Control Plus. No, it's Control Click. No, it's Control Scroll. Okay. And this is the very basic on-off keying. And unlike some of the unlike the waveform that we were analyzing over the last 2 weeks with Mike Osmond, this is a much simpler system. It's actually just using, it's not Manchester encoded, it's not using anything weird where there's 3 bits to a byte. We don't have to do anything fancy here. It's literally, it actually doesn't represent any data other than like, this so happens to be this signal for on, and that so happens to be the signal for off. And how does it know? Well, if that matches up, then we're good to go. Okay. So for something as simple as that, doing a replay attack is really nice that we can record that with GQRX, but as Mike pointed out, that does not get, that's where people a lot of times fall flat.
Yeah.
And that is like, oh, well, what's your sample rate? Well, you're recording into a WAV file. That's not like the whole radio stuff that you recorded. That's not the, we call it IQ data. But that's just not the raw signal, right? But for, in a lot of cases, we're dealing with this in the dial-up of things, kind of old era. On-off keying is what you will find predominantly on a lot of these devices because it's cheap, it's easy. These little transmitters, while 315 megahertz isn't necessarily a, what is it called? An ISM band, for example. There's like basically provisions that the FCC gives people and companies to make devices as long as it's under, I think, 25 milliwatts to be able to use that kind of spectrum. So anyway, the point is you see a ton. So analyzing it in something like GQRX makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Right? And it's convenient that you're able to just, bam, record it into a wave, and then instantly, like I can see, we've done this before, that's a 1, that's a 0.
We've been manually
that's a 1.
looking at it.
That's 3 zeros.
And figuring out which one is on and which one's off.
So this brought up the whole like, well, how do we systematically decode this? And one way to do it would be with, well, Mike Osmond showed off that way with the yardstick one with some Python
which
and
was awesome.
Clockwork Recovery, which is kind of a dark art in of itself.
It's witchcraft.
Seriously though, me personally, I'm waiting for Mike's video on this, on his video series at greatskygadget.com to get to clock recovery in GNU Radio. It's just a block you can use in GNU Radio Companion, but it's kind of finicky in that you really have to finesse the signal, you gotta use the right filters to get what it is expecting so it will spit out something useful. When at the end of the day, really, if we look at this, if it's higher than this threshold, this line in the very center of the graph, that's, this line right here, it should be quite obvious that if it's higher than that, it's a 1, and if it's lower than that, it's a 0.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this should be something that we could systematically do.
Okay.
And that's what Scoobs did.
That's right. So he sent us over his GitHub, which is over at github.com/Scoobs, and he designed this program that will basically analyze signed 16-bit stereo or mono wave files and demodulate the on-off keying. So it's a really, really simple command line tool that you can pass the file to and get the resulting hex data, which we all know how much fun it is to get hexed.
Whatever. Actually, I prefer the fact that it's going to give us the hex data because that's what we're going to go ahead and pass to RFCat anyway.
Yep.
So
it kind of skips over the 1s and 0s.
Right.
It gets you straight over to the hex.
It, saves you some. It actually saves you like one command in Python, but whatever. Anyway, point being, you're going to want to grab this tool because it's just one of those simple things that should be in everybody's toolkit. Demodulate ook over on GitHub.
Cool.
So either download the zip here or just go ahead and clone the repo with a git clone, not cline. Grab that URL there, Control-Shift-V. And there we go. And if I now cd to demodulate ook, I have it. I will point out that you have to compile it. It's C++. You can actually just jump right in and start messing with it if you want. And that's the beautiful thing about the open source stuff here is I can use Nano, which is the best editor in Linux, and edit
And he included the
main.
make file too.
Yes. Yeah, there we go. So we've got the copyright and all the good stuff, and then we can come down here and see how it works, which is great because now you can take on this and expand on it and learn from it and send a pull request and all the good stuff that comes with that. But otherwise, we want to use it, so let's just go ahead and make it because he gave us a make file, so we don't have to use G++, although really, the make file is just a do G++ tech O.
That's awesome. Yeah, so
anyway, so now we've got to demodulate ook.
Awesome.
And we can run that, but it's just going to say like, yo dog, I need some.
It needs an actual file to demodulate. Okay,
Right.
So with that, you need to input some kind of test file.
I say we use that same wave file that I just had open in Audacity here because then we can compare.
Why not?
Why not? So, this could be really boring writing it all down. Let's do it systematically. So, demodulate ook, and I'll give it /test6.wave. And this is awesome because it figures out the samples per bit. It figures out the seconds per bit, which gives us the baud rate, and it's got a baud rate of 2,000. So there's 2,000
so cool.
symbols per second.
That is
If
cool.
you're old enough to know why 1200 baud was awesome in the day, you're probably shaking your head at me saying, why do you know? We were poor. I got an IBM PC XT. We couldn't afford those 486s anyway.
He's older than me.
Not that old. The computer was just older than me. 2,000 baud is actually pretty good if you're running BBS or if you need to turn on a light switch with a remote. But the real juicy part, and what we actually want, is right here. It is the output, and boom, the magic numbers are A6, 5A, A9, and I'm just going to read this for the rest of the show. No, I'm joking. Except for that DK at the end. That's not hex. That's actually my command prompt. So, boop. Now, if I just paste that in, we can send that to RFCat and get our light switch to turn on and off as we typically do, which we will do in just a bit. But we have to give a big thanks to Scoobs.
Cats.
Cats? What?
And Scoobs.
And Scoobs. No, I think we definitely need to give big props. Thank you, Steve. This is one of the beautiful things about doing the show, is when people are like, hey, that's fantastic. I could code that in like 5 minutes, and then boom, it's done.
Yeah. Super, super handy tool. I know that Mike Osmond also showed a more complex version of the one in Python, RFCat and the yardstick one with that. And of course, there's probably even more simpler, complex methods of using clock recover and GNU radio, which he says that he's going to eventually have as a video up on greatscottgadgets.com. But until then, really, for a simple waveform to binary converter, this thing is so cool. Like, so easy to use. I just love simple solutions to complex manual problems.
You know, file goes in, hex comes out. You can't explain it, except you can if you just read the man page. We'll be back in just a bit. If you've been watching Hak5 for a while, you know how much we love domain.com. We've been using them as our domain registrar, and the other day I was thinking about all the fun projects we're doing here at Hak5, and I was like, you know what? This is an awesome opportunity to do some club action. I know that because domain.com told me about .club and all the cool new sites that you can build on it, and I gotta say, I'm hooked. There are so many .club ideas. So if you're hot on the .club, you should be. It's perfect. It's universal. It's globally understood. Not even just here in the US. If you're going to go ahead and name a new business or a startup, I think it's perfect because really anything, you know, any idea could be considered a club. That's what the internet is all about. It's about community and collaboration. And a club, well, it's the ultimate social domain, if you will. So as you guys know, we've got the Hack House Club, we've got drone clubs, we're doing all sorts of cool stuff with it, and you can get your own .club. Head over to domain.com/club, register your .club domain. They're only $9.99 a year, and there's still a bajillion available. And go ahead and make sure you use the coupon code HAK5 to save yourself 15%, and let the friends over at domain.com know where you heard about this. Matter of fact, why don't you go ahead and tweet at domain.com and let them know that you love Hak5 and you love domain.com, and thank you for sending them props and making this happen. Anyway, when you think domain names, think domain.com.
We're back and we have some viewer questions. The first one is from Dennis Mans, who writes, Darren or Michael, can you maybe provide links to some reading material on clock recovery to get started? It's so good to hear that this will be a topic in the SDR lectures at greatscottgadgets.com, but I would like to start on this right now. That's an excellent question. There are a couple of different websites. I believe Avian's blog. Yeah, Avian's blog has a good article on clock recovery, as well as Jean-Michel, the PICOD blog, PICOD's blog. Yeah, we'll have links to those in the show notes. Like I said, when we started this series, that we didn't want to rat hole too much because we could end up going down that rat hole for the longest. So you pressed the button, didn't you? She pressed the button. Getting used to that one. We got some other viewer questions. We do, yeah. So the next one is from Tyler Wathanapand, and he writes, in theory, the yardstick 1 should be able to transmit P25P1, correct? If someone were able to connect MBElib or RFCat's 4FSK transmit function, has anyone tried this?
I have not seen anyone trying this, and so that we don't lose like everybody else watching, Project 25 Phase 1 is what we're talking about here, and that's what is used by emergency responders and police and fire and things like that, at least here in North America. Yes, and it's just used to coordinate for emergencies and services, stuff like that. It's pretty cool in that it's a digital service. It uses, or it can use encryption, and it's weird because it's like anything from the lame-ass 56-bit DES all the way up to something pretty good like 256 AES, which ain't half bad. P25, P1, or Phase 1 as it's known as, is digital. It's 4FSK, or frequency shift keying, and that modulation allows it to do 4,800 bauds using 2 symbols, which comes out to being something like 9,600 BPS. Again, with the modems. Not too terribly fast, but there's some really interesting weaknesses in it, in that some of the metadata in it isn't actually isn't encrypted as well, and there's all sorts of other interesting flaws that have come to light. So if you're really into P25, I totally recommend checking out OP25 project. It's at op25.osmocom.org, and it's an open source implementation of a P25 packet analyzer. Are you trying to type on? She's just V key over and over. Sorry. It's a packet. Imagine like Wireshark, but for P25. It's made to be used with a certain unit in radio or software-defined radio, like the Edis Research USRP, although I'm sure it'd work with the Hak5 one just as well. Again, with the rabbit hole, because now I want to go down that road. I wonder if the Richmond Police Department uses P25.
We could probably find out.
As far as the Yardstick 1 is concerned, this guy operates at around 315 megahertz, 433 megahertz, and 915 megahertz. None of which, at least from what I've seen, are what's being used for P25. I thought it was much lower in the scales, something in terms of like, was it 12 kilohertz or 12 megahertz? Kirby, do you remember? Was it 12 kilohertz or megahertz?
Do you know, Kirby?
She doesn't really. No. She's not into the megahertz.
No.
She's into mega
she just
pets.
Wants pets. I don't know.
Mega pets per second.
Just a reminder, this weekend we have an open house happening, aka a garage sale at the warehouse.
And a pop-up shop.
Yeah, and a pop-up shop for the Hak5 Hack Shop. So you can go over to hak5.org/open house to sign up for that. It is on December 5th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then some of the proceeds from the garage sale are going to benefit the EFF, which we're super excited about. So come out, shop to your heart's delight, and there's also a local Point Richmond art show that day as well, so you can just like walk.
See, this is how you can convince your wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
just be like,
there's an art and crafts festival.
They're
like
doing
right next door. Totally.
They're like knitting scarves or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to be flying quadcopters and hopefully getting rid of all of our extra drones and 3D printers and robots and computers and unused production equipment and lots of stuff. So if the hell if you're looking to start a podcast, we've got half a studio ready to go.
I am selling my own microphone, so
good stuff. Anyway, we've never done this, but you know, it's nice to get a head start on 2016 spring cleaning and get you guys like in on some of this gear that's just lightly used, and that it'll all go to support the EFF, and that's fantastic portion, but it's exciting. So, yay! With all of that said, I'm just.
Oh, and if you can't head out here for that, we also have a whole bunch of sales going on for the holidays over at hakshop.com. So definitely check those out. We have a bunch of like really cool new bundles for radio type dealios. Like there's an SDR bundle. And
we did our Cyber Monday, Black Friday. Totally forgot about this. Right, we operate a shop. HAKshop.com. It's how you can support us directly, actually. You don't have to come down to the warehouse and buy our old crap. You can just buy our new crap, and it'll go in the mailbox, and you'll be happy.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just totally spaced there.
You made all the pictures for the hack shop.
I probably did. I do all the graphics on Hak5. Hey, people are probably wondering about fruity goodness too. 0xc, 0xc. Feedback at hak5.org is how you can let us know what you like, and you can just comment below as well. And hak5.org, you'll find all the shows. You'll find where to follow us on the social medias. You find Shannon's show, Tech Thing with Patrick Norton.
Oh yeah, that's on Hak5.org.
Done on a set that looks very similar to this, but obviously it's not. Completely different set.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, or come out this weekend, tour the studio.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
tours.
All right, with that, I'm Darren Kitchen.
I'm Shannon Morse.
Trust your technolist.
Bye,
Right, Kirby?
everybody.
Is that how we do it?
Where'd she go?
She's right there. Oh. She's like, no.
She's
no.
standing on the stool going, don't worry, I'll focus these cameras.
Yeah, she's like, do it again. It was just all over the place. You guys call yourselves podcasters?
How long have you been doing this?
Let's see if this Kirby isn't found. That's